It's a moment millions dream of, waking up on the first day of retirement. Free at last. Magnificent.
But a new report suggests more than half of pensioners are unhappy on the first day of freedom, many of them feeling sad, anxious and lost without a job to go to.
Sad, anxious and lost. We can't have that, can we? Come on. If you need a bit of inspiration as to how to make your retirement years the best of your life, here it is.
Angelica Bell spent some time with pensioners intent on having a ball. Today we find her with a 78-year-old who's showing no signs of slowing up.
Silverstone, the home of motor racing. This track has seen many greats come and go, but there's one man who simply refuses to do his final lap of honour. He might be in his 70s, but that's not slowing him down. And he's taking me for an 80-mile-an-hour spin. Wow, that was exciting.
Well, it's always been exciting for me too. You know, I've been doing it for 58 years, so it isn't sort of something that's new to me, but I love it.
So 58 years you've been... What made you get into racing?
My boss, actually, at the film studios, I used to work at the film studio, Denham's Film Studios, and he was racing, so he started me off, as a matter of fact. So, he helped me to build my first car, racing car, one like this, actually.
Sports cars have changed beyond recognition since Doug first pulled on his driving gloves, but he's a traditionalist at heart, and he's still racing a car from the 1920s. Who's older, the car or you?
I am. That's 2 months younger than me. I was born in 1929, August, and this was made in October of that same year. So it's a youngster compared with me. This is an Austin 7. Originally, the chassis and engine and everything else is 1929. It was just an ordinary family car in its day. It was the equivalent of the Mini in 1926, 27, 28. But I've worked on it quite a bit to tune it up for racing purposes.
Well, there's nothing a racing driver loves more than a good old-fashioned one-on-one. And that's exactly what we've got lined up for Doug. In pole position, dashing Doug Bukin. At 78 years old, the fastest grandad in Great Britain. And number 2 on the grid, racing Reg Nice, a mere whippersnapper at 64 years of age. Wonder if his mother knows what he's up to. On your marks, get set, go! And Doug's off to a flying start, breaking late into the first corner and managing to keep the young pretender Reg at bay. While they battle it out on the track, Mike Stripe of the Vintage Car Club is telling me about vintage drivers.
I think you probably continue to get better, like all things that you do. If you keep at it for a long, long time, you'll get better and better and better. Now, physically, there may be limitations. The thought process may actually slow down. I don't know, I'm not a doctor. But certainly, as Doug has developed with the car over 50 years, he'll know that car better than anybody, and they'll both be performing better than they were 30 years ago.
So what's the difference between racing then and racing now?
It was nowhere near as safe to go racing in the 30s, 40s, 50s or whatever. So they don't have roll hoops, they don't have full harnesses. A contact accident between any of these racers is not something that they want to have. They give each other space, they respect each other's abilities. When they started this business back in the 30s, it was a very brave men indeed.
So what I'm understanding is that whether you were a racing car driver in the 30s or whether you're a racing car driver now, it's the same as being a 6-year-old boy with your little toys and having that real passion.
It's the same passion that you develop as a child, which says I want to go motor racing one day, and you carry that throughout life, even into being a pensioner. And it's a great thing to see.
And on the final straight, Doug's just managing to keep Reg out, but it's pretty much neck and neck. Hey! And Doug wins by a whisker. So the next time you're at the traffic lights and a boy racer comes up alongside you, look again, because it might just be Doug.
Angelica's search for a sugar daddy continues.
I know. I know. I'm doing quite well. I'm going to move on to you next.
Not quite old enough yet. So who else have you got this week then?
Oh, we meet some fantastic people. And Doug was brilliant. And all the people I meet this week are so inspiring. And I think that the older generation, they get a bad press.
Yeah.
But they were so fantastic to be with. Maureen, 71, and she's a synchronised swimmer, so we're meeting her. Jim is an 81-year-old pilot, and I actually flew with him, and he is so safe and brilliant as well. Fantastic landing. Phyllis is 100, and she's a boss.
Yeah.
And we've got Alan, who's a surfer, who's 73.
I talk about all this. I've got a kick in the teeth.